Yes, Your Grace is an indie game where you play as the king and you make decisions for your kingdom. You have a wife and 3 daughters. I'm unsure of the ages, but one is like elementary age, one is middle school age, and one is either high school age or just graduated high school age. Now, your kingdom is pretty fucking weak. On top of that, 13 years ago, we promised our oldest daughter to some people because they were holding my wife at knife point. And since I wanted a happy wife and an unhappy knife, I decided, yes, I would give my daughter to them. 13 years later is when this game takes place, and now they are coming to collect. My kingdom isn't super strong, and now I'm in charge. So I gotta say, I'm starting my kingship off pretty hard. Not the actual king, but like me. I'm starting off with people coming to collect on debts that I didn't make. My king did, but I didn't. And my kingdom also isn't strong. They basically said, you are the leader of a pretty weak country. And I was like, oh, shit, okay, well, here I go. Each day as you listen to your people and decide what to do about the problems, and then you go and talk to your family about various things. You can never run out of resources though, or you will lose, so you have to choose wisely. With the army coming, troops are needed, and one king is offering a good sum of men to help us if we have our eldest marry his son. Now, while I'm usually against forcing marriage on someone who doesn't want it, our current options are give my daughter to barbarians that are coming after us to kill us, or give my daughter to a prince in a land where she will be well taken care of. Or don't give my daughter away and let everyone die, including my daughter, because we don't have enough people to fight this war. So, unfortunately for her, she will be making a sacrifice, whether she likes it or not, and for the greater good. Of course, she is very upset by this, understandably, and I don't blame her, but also, out of all the options, this one is not only the safest for her, but the safest for all of our people. So, we have our little marriage, and then the king who promised to help us falls over dead. He has been poisoned. The prince, Prince Ivo, accuses us, which is definitely not true, and he decides he's taking away troops from us, the troops that he promised. But he somehow still keeps our eldest daughter, which seems like a wild screw-over because the promise was you get our eldest daughter, we get the troops. Why does he still get the eldest daughter? I don't understand. I wish I could have just told him no, but that wasn't an option. So, now not only do we need to spend time building an army, but we also need to look for evidence to figure out who really poisoned the king. In Ivo, the prince is literally my main suspect, as he has everything to gain from this, but unfortunately, he's not one I can accuse. There's just other people who I have to have as my suspects. Most of my decisions come down to this. If someone wants something that is not a necessity, such as money for weddings or taxes for festivals or something, my answer is usually no. It's like always no, actually. Well, I do think those things are important. When we are at war, I need to have my resources go to the most important things, which is supplies and war stuff. I'm not a greedy king. I don't hoard the wealth. In fact, I give a lot. So much that I often don't have the money to say yes to certain people. Sometimes I will give money to a worthy cause and then another worthy cause shows up and I just don't have the money to help that second worthy cause. And of course, they aren't gonna like that. They're gonna go back and tell their friends about how the king doesn't care about them and he said, no, you can't have this. And I get it. But, as Cecil from Invincible says, you can either be a hero or you can save the world. You can't do both. And that's what this is here. I'd love to give them the help that they want. But I was thrust into leadership during a war, so I'm doing my fucking damnedest to keep everyone alive and at peace during a war. Which isn't the easiest thing to do, especially when I am the weak one. Speaking of which, I wish I could set up a peace meeting with these guys. I know they're barbarians or whatever, but I would still like to talk it out if possible. Not an option though. And while some of your choices matter, others don't, and you have no say in it. Meanwhile, my middle daughter has started hanging out with the daughter of the enemy. She's like, just because some of them are bad doesn't mean all of them are bad. You yourself as a king have had to jail your own people if they're bad, but does that make our kingdom bad? No, it does not. And while these are some wise words, my wife is like, nah, she can't be there. She can't be in this palace. It's too dangerous. At last the trial day comes, and while I built up a pretty good army from a lot of trades that sometimes were more sketchy than I would have hoped for, I still don't happen to have a big enough army. Ivo is here and he demands to know who killed his father. I have suspects, but the evidence is flimsy on all of them. However, one woman made an offer for my middle daughter to marry her middle son, because the curse on him will be gone and get passed to her. So I just lie and I say it was her who killed the king to save my middle daughter, and so that Ivo can drop this because we got a whole kingdom to save. Is it right to let the woman who didn't do this die? Sometimes there is no right or wrong. There is only survival. I came into this game ready to be the kindest, best king I could be, but for that scenario, I would have had to have been in a situation where I could be that guy. You can't be that guy when you need to survive. When everyone is counting on you to survive, sometimes you have to make sacrifices that do hurt someone. If I told Ivo I didn't find someone, you know what would happen? He would probably kill me, and then there goes my people to the barbarians. There goes my reinforcements. Gone. So I had to pick. And I picked. I picked someone who seemed like a little piece of shit. Although I still think it was Ivo. So then she dies, and I go talk to my eldest before the fight to let her know I love her and I'm sorry things ended up this way. And then I find out Ivo has been abusing her. She begs me not to tell. She says, oh, this will make things worse. And I have been doing my best so far to try to be the best I could to my people, even if some of my decisions hurt them. But apparently, that is where I had had enough. I went off on Ivo. I was accusing him of hurting my daughter, but my eldest was right. I shouldn't have done that. It isn't a good idea to fight with someone who you need to win a war. I was just really pissed that he was abusing her. I thought I had put her in a more safe position. But he knew it. He fucking knew it. And he fucking knew he had all the power. And he was an ass. A far smarter thing to do would have been to pretend I didn't know and then hurt his ass later. But I fucked up. I shouldn't have said anything there. And for the first time, I feel like I actually did let my people down and did do the wrong thing. Even if the wrong thing was standing up for my abused daughter. And the fact that standing up for my abused daughter is the wrong thing, I think it does a good job with making you make decisions like that. The world isn't black and white. It's usually gray, and sometimes there just isn't a right option. There's just a lesser of the evils. And I think Yes, Your Grace does a good job making you choose between those. I did my best. I could have done a little better, apparently. The battle began. Despite their bigger numbers, we were doing pretty well, but I watched our numbers taper off, and it was time to call in Ivo's troops. And so I blew the horn. Nothing. They did not come. Maybe they were late or they did not hear, so I blew the horn again. And again, nothing. Shit. Fuck. Is this because I yelled at him about hitting my daughter? Nah, he wouldn't let everyone die because I yelled at him, right? I blew the horn again, and then received a letter. Ivo isn't coming. This is all we have. That's it. We're done. I failed. All my people will die. I will die. All my family will die. I legit sat at the screen thinking about how hopeless this is. And then Gage, my buddy who happened to be watching me play at the time, said, Don't go out like a pussy. And yeah, he's right. At least I can give my men hope, even if it is false hope. And then the wildest thing happened. An avalanche came down and it just wiped out the other army and kept a very tiny bit of us alive. We won. Through pure luck, we had won. It was a miracle. That didn't last long though, because now Ivo was threatening to come after us. Now, in 14 weeks, now that we were weak, that fucking bastard. But at least I had 14 weeks to build an army. But still, this sucks. War is such a waste of life just to benefit the few who don't even fight in it. Hopefully we can kill Ivo and go to peaceful times. Or better yet, work out something. Although he doesn't seem like the most reasonable of fellows. I met with 3 kings. One says to slaughter any barbarians who live and he will give me his army. The next king's like, whoa, how about you don't slaughter all those barbarians and I'll give you my army. And the next one said, slaughter just the right amount of them. I'm kidding. That's not what happened. The third one was just a creepy old guy who said some gross shit about my middle daughter, and he was like, I'll give you an army if you let me marry your, 12-year-old daughter, even though he's, 65. So, yeah, a lot to think about there. Do I give my daughter to a pedophile to save a bunch of lives? Jesus Christ. This is quite the trolley problem. Well, let's start off with the whole barbarian thing. They do actually have a name, I just forgot to say it till now. It is the Radovians from Radovia. So they bring the king of Radovia to me to decide what to do with him, and he tells me his land was actually so awful and had so many people trying to kill them that they went here to attack us to save their own people, which I think there could have been better ways to fix that, but nonetheless, I guess I understand why he did what he did, and I'm sure people are angry, but I decide to spare him. Look, I need anyone I can to help me with Ivo. He is the big threat right now. I also spare the refugees and I start feeding them, which again, I'm sure people are very upset about. But let me tell you, war is really fucking stupid, and it gets people into fights risking their lives who wouldn't have been in fights previously. And if I was the one to have lost the war and my people were the one in the situation where they were the refugees, I would want my people to not be executed. I would love someone to help my people. And, the whole do unto others thing, that's what I'm about to do. I also tell my middle daughter she can start hanging out with her friend again. And then she reveals to me that they aren't just friends, and that they are in love. I'm actually totally cool with that. It helps me make up my mind for sure that I can't just give her to a pedophile. So that's good. It also helped me decide, you know what, maybe no matter what, I should never marry my daughter off again. Unless she's like, oh, I want it, If only I did that for my oldest, though. I'm not positive if the game actually would have let me, because that was really early on and it didn't feel like I had that much control early on, but at least here it let me pick. Guess what? I got a letter. Ivo, based on absolutely no proof, has decided that my daughter is a witch and they burned her to death. Are you fucking kidding me? If I get the chance, I will make him suffer. Burn to death, Ivo? Oh. I go tell everyone the news and it makes everyone sad. Ivo is now claiming that we are witches and we sponsor witchcraft and we need to die, but if we surrender, he will give us a fair trial. And, well, some people are like, well, maybe we should surrender. I'm gonna say bullshit. Not once has Ivo kept any of his fucking promises. I'm not surrendering to someone like this. We have to fight to the death, unfortunately. As much as I would like not to do that, the other option is surrender and then get killed. Anyway, so might as well fight it out. I also let my youngest have a pet bear. I understand that's not a reasonable thing to do, to let that happen, but right now I'm looking past that and hoping the game has some reason for me to let her keep a bear. It is now the day of the war. We have our troops. We have fortified the castle. My wife has failed to give birth and died. Also, My middle child ran away despite me telling her no. She left to travel the world with her girlfriend, which would have been fine with me if she wasn't 12 years old. But now she is gone, and the war is here. All I got left is my littlest kid, and if I die, this is gonna end up being her story of how she quickly lost all of her family. Ivo then sends a letter saying, hey, surrender and I'll only kill the ones who I think are witches. But again, he's kind of insane and I'm not going to trust him. So it's wartime. The battle is fierce. There was many times where I wasn't sure we could pull it off. But we kinda did. The upgrades we made to our castle aided us immensely, and at last I had won. And I had Ivo captured and in my castle. Ivo confessed to poisoning a drink, but it was supposed to be my drink. The fact that it ended up killing his father was a complete mistake caused by my daughter because of her weird pets she keeps. I'm not sure why he told me this. If anything, it just makes me dislike him more, the fact he was trying to kill me. Sadly, I can't torture him or, really make him feel the pain he has caused. I can only free him or give him a quick death. So I guess I'm going to kill him. And so it is. My littlest daughter is all I have left, and because of the events that happened, I have become a crazy and mad king. Because of all the losses I've had. Sure, we did survive, but at what fucking cost? It's like that one fucking meme where they ask Thanos, what did it cost? And he's like, everything, or whatever, It's that. Anyway, I'm sure there was better endings and such, but it was a fun game, and they did a good job with some of the scenarios. A sequel is coming out, but if you do play this, let me know how you did. I know there is an actual good ending. I didn't get that, but damn if I didn't do my damnedest, given the fucking circumstances. I hope I never run for office or anything, because this might look like a blemish on why not to vote for me. This is actually a pretty good game, filled with a lot of good choices. I think you should play it. I think you should buy the sequel. Bye.